Dynamic entrance kicking in the door like God. Turn up to the max, shooting energy up to the sky. Tap into the station 935, it's time to rock. Swooshy color backgrounds just to let you know we fly. Undefeated, never beaten, cause we got the skill. Striking all this black gold, you would think we had a drill. We got what you need, homie, so come and get your fill. Relax and unwind, it's time to anime and chill. It's time to anime and chill. Relax and unwind, it's time to anime and chill.
Much better. You are now tuned into another episode of your favorite show. You chilling with your favorite two N-words, the biggest anime nerds. We can say it.
You can't.
Yeah, man, another week goes by.
Yes, sir.
And like we are in deep. We got the WWE draft that's going on. Well, it kind of just ended, but yeah, we got the draft that's going on. We got freaking. I want to talk about some more One Piece. Maybe get into some anime match combinations. Seeing as how we came in watching some of that death battle, but yeah, cause I want to expand the content just a little bit into some more anime, cause I feel like we kind of light on the anime. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, we'll be talking about everything else.
Yeah, so I kind of want to bring it back, since we do call ourselves the biggest anime nerds.
Well, I guess anime means more than just a cartoon.
It could. It could mean the whole culture.
Marvel Universe, DC Universe. Yeah.
Right, because those are still comic books. Those still count as like manga if you really want to get into it.
But, you know, some people don't have that stuff.
Hey, man. Then we can start getting into the dubs versus the subs. Oh, that's an argument. Or at least a discussion I want to have too. Talk about the dubs and the subs and which fans feel like they're better than the others. But I digress. Yeah, I like I said, I really want to bring it home with maybe some death battle matchups. And we come up with a reason why a certain anime character will win a fight between another. And we go from there. Alright, so before we get into that, I know I'm just the worst. I want to talk about the WWE draft.
Yep, here you go.
It started last Friday and went to Monday. So for y'all that are listening on Thursday,
it happened already.
Right. So night one on SmackDown, it was pretty good. It was okay. I already knew who the number one draft pick was going to be. It was Roman Reigns. Like, if you couldn't see that, you was blind. Stuck in the dark. Stevie Wonder. Shout out to The Rock.
So is he back on Raw now?
No, he's on SmackDown.
So he was on Raw before.
No, he was on SmackDown.
And he got drafted back to SmackDown?
Yeah. That's why I'm saying I want to talk about this stupid shit.
Yeah, that was
It took me a minute to realize how dumb this shit was.
So did they do the raffle?
No.
Okay.
No. Because being that Raw is on USA and SmackDown is on Fox, they're trying to do it like it's an actual sports draft.
Wow.
Where it's like, oh, this show drafts this person, this show drafts that person. And, you know, they try to make it seem real sports-like. So, the like I said, I'm going to try to, matter of fact, I'm not going to try to remember. I'm going to look up these goddamn draft picks. But yeah, man, all in all, like, you knew Roman was gonna be number one because that's just like,
Because he's the head of the table.
thank you, because I was about to say some stupid shit like, oh, because that's their golden boy, but that would have been disrespectful to my tribal chief, and I shall acknowledge him. But yeah, nah. So he comes out immediately. He's like, you goddamn right, number one draft pick. But behind him was Big E staying on Raw.
Okay.
Which, that's my point. They were what they were doing is, it's like they were giving you the draft picks, but it's like motherfuckers that wasn't moving nowhere, they still drafted them too. Like, oh, they were eligible for the draft. Yeah, but we kind of knew they wasn't going nowhere. But then they fucked around and they swerved me when they switched the Raw Women's Champion, Charlotte, and drafted her to SmackDown. And then it took a whole nother night on Raw when they did night 2 for them to draft Becky Lynch, and she was number one draft pick on night 2. But yeah. So night 1, the picks were for Raw: Big E, Bianca Belair, RK Bro, Edge, Rhea Ripley and Nikki Cross, Keith Lee, Ray and Dominic Mysterio, which I still think Dominic is going to turn on his goddamn daddy.
You know what's coming.
Like, I'm waiting on, they setting up for it.
That's how Rey Mysterio gonna leave the company.
Right.
That's how it's gonna be. His son's gonna be the one to put him away.
Bruh, that would be so poetic.
Mm-hmm.
That would be so poetic.
Yep.
But last and not least, for Raw Night 1, we get Austin Theory. That's this young up and coming wrestler. He from Georgia. I don't know what it is about him, but the first time I saw him was on an Evolve show, which is like one of WWE's subsidiary companies.
Yeah.
It's like one of their developmental programs. I guess that's what you would call that. But he had a match with, I think it was Johnny Gargano. If not Johnny Gargano, it was with Adam Cole. And bruh, that match was fire. Like, I was like, oh, this kid got chops. Like, he could go. I'm like, oh shit, okay, I like this little nigga. Then he popped up on NXT. And I was like, oh, okay, so this little nigga, he can go, let's do it. Then they moved him up from NXT to Raw, but, you know, the main roster, especially around 2019, 2020, they was like, yeah, you see that target? We're gonna shoot it. And they forget that the target is their motherfucking foot. Shoot their foot, drop the gun, the motherfucker go off again.
Damn.
Like, bruh, they're just now starting to rehab Shayna's character.
I saw that. Well, I didn't see that, but I was scrolling through Facebook and it was a shot of Shayna Baszler. It was referring to the draft, and it was a shot of Shayna Baszler. She looking like she ready to come through and stomp somebody.
Bruh, that was night 2 when she stomped Dana Brooks' arm.
Oh damn! So she's
They
already
cut that one out on Hulu. Like, Hulu be cutting out some of the segments because Hulu only got, like, I think a 2-hour time slot, and Raw is 3 hours. So yeah, they be cutting out some of the segments from Raw. But when I go on YouTube and I watch the reviews, that's when I see that, yeah, you missed this, you missed that, you missed that. And usually it's something 'It's not really something that's gonna affect the overall story arc of Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Well, not so much SmackDown, because SmackDown's only 2 hours, so you get that whole show anyway. But let's see. Oh no, I read that wrong. Yeah, that was all the ones from night 1. And then night 2, we start off with, okay, Becky. I see what I did wrong. Oh well. Fuck it. I'm done trying to search because all the ones I find, the list ain't set up right. But I will say this. Each show, yeah, so it was like, yeah, I read off most of them. Night 2 was Becky, then Bianca, then well, Becky moved to Raw. Bianca moved to Raw on night 1, so Bianca was already there. But they moved Becky to Raw because since Charlotte moved to SmackDown, which I hope they don't do no dumb shit, which I think they're gonna do, and have them swap titles. Cause I'm like, bruh, if y'all do that dumb shit, it's gonna be like, what was the point? That you literally just said these things that you said are titles and they're prestigious and they mean something. They're interchangeable. And then especially you doing it with the women. You didn't do that with the men's title. You didn't make them their titles interchangeable. Each one of them titles are distinguished in and of itself. Even the 2 heavyweight titles, like the Universal title and then the WWE title. They didn't just call it the Raw title and the SmackDown title, which they could. They could have called it the WWE Raw Men's title. WWE Raw Men's SmackDown was SmackDown Men's title. Either way it go. But like I said, I'm not going to try to sit there and remember every single one of the people. But I know for the most part, Night 2 Usos was also kept on SmackDown. It was a major point at the end of SmackDown last week when they got to the end of the night and the Usos weren't drafted. And so Roman is sitting in his locker room and he's in his chair and Paul Heyman's sitting next to him, and the Usos look over at Roman. Roman look over at Paul Heyman. He goes, "Wise man." "Yes, my tribal chief. My cousins weren't drafted tonight." "Well, they'll be drafted on Raw. You better go to Raw and make sure that they stay on SmackDown." And he's like, yes, my tribal chief, you can consider it done. And he said, "Paul, yes, why are you still here?" So it's like, bro, cause right before that, this motherfucker Lesnar interrupted Jeff Hardy's segment because Jeff Hardy got drafted to SmackDown. See, that should have come into me, because they kind of weaved it into the story a little bit. But So when they went to interview Jeff after just literally being drafted to SmackDown, they try to talk to him, and this motherfucker Brock Lesnar come walking up and just debos this nigga whole interview segment. So the girl that was interviewing Jeff, she turns to Brock Lesnar and she holds the mic. He goes, "Excuse me, can I hold this for a second?" Thank you. You can go stand over there. Okay, bye-bye now. Thank you. And he looks into the camera like, wait, what the fuck? Is this nigga being nice? They said this nigga hates people. Like, look, he just doesn't like people.
He probably
And this
still doesn't.
huh?
He probably still doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was just his nice way of saying, get
Right.
the fuck out my face.
Right. Before he
You know,
pick you
he's
up
got
at Suplex
practice.
City. Yeah.
But so he gets on the mic and he was like, I just wanted to talk to Roman Reigns. He was like, but before I talk to you, hi Paul. He was like, I just wanted to tell Roman that I owe everything to Paul Heyman. It's because of Paul Heyman that I was not only a big star here in the WWE, I was a big star in the UFC. He was like, and then I came back and I conquered this bitch again. So, thank you, Paul Heyman, because thanks to Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar is a free agent. And Brock Lesnar does what he wants when he wants. And then did the silliest goddamn wench.
Nah. Damn.
Yeah. And then that led into Roman like, yeah, my cousins weren't drafted tonight. They're gonna be drafted on Raw. They better be. Otherwise, you gonna be in trouble. So, yeah, Usos were like the third draft pick of night 2, which shout out to the Usos because that's my favorite tag team ever. Well, not ever, but kind of.
Really?
It was
put them out there with the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, Hardy Boys.
Yeah, because for me around that time, it was the Hardys. I ain't even gonna flex. I'm not too keen on them anymore because they old now and they can't do the shit they used to do.
Right. Jeff Hardy's still trying.
Trying is the key word in that sentence, but So when you look at the Usos, because the Usos are Rikishi's sons.
Yeah.
And first off, like when I'm watching wrestling, I'm a big fan of like legacies like that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like just keeping the business in the family business, that type of shit. So I'm like, that's cool to see. And then to see that both of these motherfuckers can go, bruh. They are so close to each other, being that they're twins. They ain't even gotta talk in the ring. It's almost like they know what each other are thinking. And even if one fucks up, the other one is like, no, I know where you was going. Still get it there. That's why I fuck with the Usos, because them boys, like, bruh, them niggas is just, they the ones, as they say.
Okay.
So, they got drafted extra early, and then here come this little, this new interviewer that they got backstage, this guy. He comes walking up to Paul Heyman. Now, Paul Heyman has this thing with Kayla Braxton because she's like that annoying motherfucking reporter that's always popping up on a politician trying to get the dirt on that nigga. Like, oh, so what does this mean? And what are you doing about this? And he's like, God damn it. And she always catches this nigga at a bad time. Or even if it's not a bad time and he's just walking down the hall, she'll come walking up from behind him. Hi, Paul. Oh, bitch. Like, they need to put a bell around your neck or something. God damn. But yeah. And so when he runs into this new guy, well, at least the new guy that's on Raw, he's like, well, hey, you're certainly a lot better looking than Kayla. And I'm like, what? But I get what he was getting at. It's better to see you than to see her popping up every 5 fucking seconds, popping out the bushes like, "Hi, Paul. What you doing? How you doing? What you doing there? Who you talking to? What the fuck? Leave me the fuck alone." So I understand how he feels, but that's her job. That's what she's supposed to do. But I'm like, it's not like she's catching him walking down the hall and she's standing in front of him when he comes passing by. "Oh, hey, Paul, do you mind? Can I get..." Nah, he'll be walking down the hall and she'll just come walking up from behind him. As soon as she get beside that nigga, "Hi, Paul." Like, yo, that's not how you... And then she always asking probing ass questions. Like, "Yeah, I need to get the dirt. I want to get the dirt. We need to spill the dirt. What's up with you and Brock Lesnar? What's up with you and Brock Lesnar? You gonna turn on Roman Reigns? Huh? Is Roman Reigns still your guy? Or is Brock Lesnar your guy? Which one? They can't both be your guy. Why? But then again, one of them is holding the title. The other one wants the title. Who you gonna go for? Who you got? Who back you got?" Like, bruh, I wouldn't be surprised if this match get down to both of these motherfuckers is beat down so bad that they're trying to get Paul Heyman to cheat for them. And he just looks at both of them and backs out.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Like, cause it's like stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
yeah, it'd be nice to see if they would ever
but
entertaining.
yeah, but they're doing that shit at Crown Jewel, which is gonna be in Saudi Arabia. And I'm like, oh God, they just opened shit up and y'all are already like, okay, let's go back to Saudi Arabia. The same place where the fans from the rest of the world was like, why do you keep going, man? Every time you go there, the shows are shit. Like, what the fuck? Now, maybe this year, who knows? They might actually take some time and put some thought into a match, or maybe it's the climate difference. Maybe, you know, going out to the desert and whatnot is an experience in and of itself.
It could be right, because you know it's probably the same like when football teams play home games and away games. The home team always seems to do better at home than they do on the road, because you're used to playing in your house,
right?
You know, so it could be that. It could be that.
Yeah, but like I was saying, like they made it a point to say when certain people were drafted to the same show that they were on, mixed in with the other people who were drafted from one show to another. So it's like, oh, it's random. Come on, man. Even if it is random, don't tell me about motherfuckers that ain't moving. Like, oh, guess who's not being traded? Then why does it matter? Like, guess who's staying on their same brand? You just wasted a draft pick. That was dumb.
Yeah, that was dumb.
But then again, it's like they wanted to make it seem like it's competitive. That's why they mixed it in with some of the draft picks that were jumping from show to show, so that those seemed more exciting. So it's like, ooh, they jump. Oh, okay. So people can move from show to show. Yeah. If it's a draft, that's what it should be. It should just be you picking motherfuckers that come from one show to another. Like, look, this person's moving over here. This person's on here now. But I guess a lot of the ones that jumped ship were the lower card guys. But hindsight, man. So, yeah. And then on top of that, they ended SmackDown and Raw with almost literally the exact same fucking match. Only difference is you trade out Sasha for Charlotte. Because on SmackDown, it was Sasha versus Bianca in a rematch. And just when it looked like Bianca was getting ready to win, Becky pulled her ponytail, causing the distraction, and Sasha rolled her up for the 1-2-3. Then on Raw, freaking Bianca fought Charlotte. And again, it was looking like Bianca was finna win. And Becky snatched that hair and cost her the match.
Again.
Yeah. So, they're going to have a match in Saudi Arabia, which is big because the Saudis usually don't let them have the women's matches on. But, you know, America, we take our freedoms with us. Like, we're free wherever we go. Like, nah, bitch, in this country, you follow our rules. Like, if we say them women gotta be covered up completely, then them women gotta be covered up completely. Like, oh, but we can't cover their face because camera time. Like, that'd be the only thing they don't cover, but everything else.
You're way out there in the sun, wrestling.
Not
Sweats.
even so much in the sun, because it'd be nighttime when that shit be going on. Fucking, yeah, matter of fact, one of the last times they went out there, when they had the first women's match in Saudi Arabia, a fan threw a bottle of water at Natalya.
Bitch, put on some clothes.
But here's the fucked up part: she was covered from head to toe almost. The only thing
Bitch,
you
put
could
on
see-
some more clothes.
But you're right. That is their culture out there. He said, bitch, put on some clothes. She's covered damn near from head to toe, except for her hands and face. Bitch, put on some more clothes.
That's funny. That's funny. I can see that happening. If somebody threw a shoe at Bush,
Bruh.
it's possible.
Bruh. Yeah. Nah, it's. And then it's like it was Natalya and Lacey Evans, who, don't get me wrong, Natalya is a good wrestler, but in my opinion, her time is come and gone. I really hate to say this, but she's kind of past her prime, which is why they're pushing more of the younger ones. Which, that's not to say that there's anything wrong with her. She's still a good wrestler. It's just watching her matches is like watching paint dry.
Yeah, that shit's boring. Slow.
Bruh, not because she tries so hard to live up to her uncle and her dad instead of just trying to be her. You see what I'm saying? That's the downside of the legacies, though. They got a lot of pressure on them. They got big shoes to fill. And sometimes they get nervous. Sometimes they don't think they can do it, and then they get in their own head. But I digress. It was her and Lacey Evans, who is like, don't get me wrong, she got a little better since being on the main roster, where she's out now because of a child. She had got pregnant. And then, oh, this shit is so funny in hindsight. Oh my God, it's gonna sound terrible. But when you think about the shit that they did and you put it in perspective now, I just gotta laugh. So, when she first popped up pregnant, It was during the middle of a storyline that they had her doing with Charlotte, where Charlotte had turned on her dad, and Lacey was pretty much starting to have her own little thing with Rick, and they were trying to push that, oh, maybe her and Rick are getting it on, and this, that, and the third, and blah, blah, blah. Well, that was, I think, early 2020. And so, fast forward to where we're at now. A couple weeks ago, might even be a few weeks ago, Vice dropped that Dark Side of the Ring episode on the plane ride from hell, which everybody's talking about, or at least they were. And a lot of allegations came out. A lot of people got a finger pointed at them for one thing or another. And one of those people was, you guessed it, Ric Flair. And so I'm not going to go into the details of the allegation because not my place to say, but suffice it to say that he was accused of doing some inappropriate things, and looks real bad.
He's Ric Flair, bitch. That's
Bruh.
Probably what he was doing back in the day.
Bruh.
Ric Flair, bitch. Woo.
And so when the accusation on him came out on Dark Side of the Ring, that shit made you wonder. It's like, okay, so y'all did an angle where he, quote unquote, got this lady pregnant, this 35, 37-year-old woman pregnant, who we already know was married with a kid. Like, the fuck. But again, that was early 2020. And that was the shit they were working with. Just kind of dumb shit. But nonetheless, let's move on to some anime. Eat the cake anime. I want to talk about like how we was watching Death Battle.
Yeah.
Freaking I did see one with like Saitama and Goku, but I don't see a lot of actual anime characters, like them having two characters from different animes and saying who would win in a fight, and then doing the whole stat list that they do for everybody where they run down everything that person has in their arsenal, and then they go to the opponent and they go, but this person has all these things over here in their arsenal, so who would win? And then they do like a simulated fight, and then and they pick a winner. But with them, I'm guessing they got the money to animate that shit. We have money to animate shit. I'd animate fucking anime battle scene of just two anime characters from different anime. See? Told you, these big ass anime nerds. See, that nerd came out one time. Sorry about that. That little motherfucker be getting anxious. And, well, sometimes you just gotta tell him, motherfucker. But nah. So, I'm gonna say one. I'm just gonna pick one. Pick an anime character. You can pick any anime character from any anime. And we're gonna come up with reasons why each one would win. And I guess we can call this one the base face-off. I don't know. I'll come up with a better name later. But I do want to make this thing. And anyway, so no limits on who you can pick. Which I noticed we should set limits, but maybe later down the line. I just want to get this one out there. So, for me, I am going to go with Vegeta. It took me a minute. I was going to go with another one, but for this first one, I'm going to say Vegeta.
I think I'm gonna go with you know what? I think this one will be a good one. I think I'm gonna go with Deku.
Midoriya, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about my other boy, but he might be either number 2 or number 3. But yeah, so alright. The reason I picked Vegeta is obvious. He's tapping into that destruction power. So he's starting to get that godly might that he always proclaims to have had. You know, I think thou protest too much type of ego. And now he's getting the power to back up that ego. So he's becoming how can I say this? Vindicated. That's the word I was looking for. He's becoming vindicated in his own ego. He had already believed himself to be strong enough to be a god. Now he's being trained by one and even tapping into some of that power of a destruction god. Like, the fuck? So that's my reason why. Your reason?
Shit. Well, because Deku was, even though he didn't have a quirk or nothing, and he was a total human, he was given that crazy power by All Might. He was already given that power at maximum capacity. He had to train how to use it. When you got power that break your arms and your fingers every time you throw a punch, or break your legs when you throw a kick, that's crazy strength. That's crazy power. And he's young. So by the time he's got this mastered, man, look, I don't think there's nobody touching him. He's already going over. Now I've never seen All Might to. Now you know when All Might go into his punches, you know.
Right.
You could probably assume he's putting everything into them bitches all the time.
Right.
But nigga, Deku went 1,000,000% on a nigga.
Yeah.
And beat him. And I'm like, 1,000,000%? Bruh. So I mean, yeah, I think that would be a dope ass fucking fight, and it'd probably come down to stamina.
Yeah.
It'd probably come down to stamina.
Yeah, because in my opinion, I think Vegeta has that in spades. Because it comes down to his willpower. Now, I'm not sure about Deku, because I know with Deku, even with his willpower, if his body can't respond, then what good are you in a fight? You can have the most powerful punch, but if you can only throw that bitch once and it doesn't take your opponent out, then what?
Oh, nobody's saying he's throwing one punch one time. Hell no. He'll be tagging Vegeta ass.
Yeah, so he's
Protagonist
going
is that.
he's going to have to regulate his power.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he is now. He didn't even with a 1,000,000% punch. That's pretty regulated. It didn't kill him, and he's still out there beating super villains. Vegeta's not gonna take that cake. Not like that. Not
I
like
mean,
that.
it might be a hard fight, but I really believe that, especially when Vegeta turns the fuck up, because you know Vegeta ain't finna do like Goku and start out in base form and fight you in base form and then jump up to the next level and then jump up to the next level and jump up to the next. Goku does that to kind of wear you out over time. Vegeta's not trying to wear you out over time. Vegeta's trying to get rid of you ASAP. So, the minute he figures out that your own attacks are damaging you, what he's gonna start doing is goading you into swinging at him.
Nah, we're not talking about early Deku. We talking about Deku who know how to use his power. So nah, that wouldn't be happening unless he shattered his own limits. But nah, we talking about Deku who got that shit under control. Because now in the anime, he got it under control. He not breaking his shit no more. So nah, you're gonna have to come a little better than that.
Well, I mean,
Ain't gonna
even
be no
at that,
pushover.
even at that, like, I mean, with all of his projectiles and his beams, like, Deku would really have to find a way to use other shit to hit Vegeta. Because I don't think he can get that close. And even if he did, I think Vegeta would still have a defense for it.
Yeah, he might, but I don't think it'll last that long. I mean, who's to say? Like you said, Vegeta, he'll go straight into it. So yeah, he'll go straight into his blue mode, fight Deku, not KO him, shoot off his energy beams. Yeah, Deku somehow survives those. Then Vegeta gets tired, goes back into base form. Deku's already in base form. He's just been using his power. He ain't got to do transformations.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Vegeta get into a fist fight.
Now, if that's the case, then
Now
it's a
it's
grown man fighting a boy.
yeah, well, hey, a boy with the strength of a giant ass man who crushed every villain he's ever faced. Yeah, I think he can get a pass.
The only way I see Vegeta going down, and that's a big if, is if Deku tells him, nigga, I got more power. Like, straight up. If Deku starts to tell this nigga, yeah, no, I'm not even touching the tip of my power. If he tries to throw it in his face, like, yeah, no, nigga, I got way more power than this. Because what it's gonna do, it's going to demoralize Vegeta. It's going to get him angry, and then he's going to start making mistakes. But then again, with this new God of Destruction power, that's supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? When he gets angry, he's thinking 2-3 steps ahead.
Yeah, but even that power is dope, but even that power got a drawback. It's the complete opposite of Ultra Instinct. So as in with Ultra Instinct, where Goku dodged everything, Vegeta's taking everything. Like, literally taking all the
Right,
blows.
he's absorbing.
He's taking all
Got
the
you.
blows. So he's still fucking himself up in a way just to keep that mode. And for him to get into that mode, Deku would have to be mopping him. Because that's what drove him into that mode. The instinct, the will to fight on instinct. Because Granola was smashing him. That's what drove him into that mode. He started not caring about shit. So he started caring about the fight. And he started loving the pain. And then boom, he gets going into Ultra Ego, they get to going, and then after a while, Vegeta's like, damn, I'm taking too much damage. But by then, it's too late because he's taking everything. So yeah, if in that mode, he would have to let Deku land every blow. But then again, I mean, if he go into that mode, who's to say he doesn't just Hakai Deku's ass? He's the god of destruction.
Right.
At that point, so just, Hakai his ass. But I mean, Vegeta's my man, so I don't see him coming out of no fight the loser. I see if he falls, the other person fell too.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Because, you're not beating that nigga's pride. Fuck that. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. But yeah, I don't think Deku would go down like no bitch. That would be a dope ass fight. Because them little niggas on My Hero fight like goddamn Super Saiyans any goddamn
Right.
fucking little superheroes. And they only teens going to school, learning about that shit. Going around doing the crazy shit that they do. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't see Deku as no pushover. Not anymore. Like in the beginning, maybe when he first got that power, no problem. He'll probably get waxed in base form, but nah, Deku with complete mastery of that power and regulation of that power, he ain't no bitch. None.
Okay, I got another one for you. For me, I'm gonna go with the pick that I was gonna pick the first time. This would make him my number 2 pick. Sabo.
Trunks. Yeah. And I say Trunks because Trunks wields the sword and Sabo wields the pipe. I think that'd be a good little clash.
Yeah, it would be.
That'd be a good little clash right there.
It would be. Because not only does Sabo have armament hockey, he's got the flare fruit, which pretty much turns him into living flames.
Yeah.
And unless you can use hockey, or at least a form of hockey, whatever the equivalent for the anime world would be, you pretty much can't touch him without getting burned.
I think the equivalent of hockey in Dragon Ball Z would be that stone that Gohan threw at Goku in the Buu Saga. When Majin Buu beats Gohan,
right,
and the Supreme Kai takes Gohan to the land of the Kais and they heal him and they get him to pull the Z sword.
Right.
And then Goku shows up and he starts training with the shit and he tells Gohan to pick up this giant cube.
Yeah.
That's made of something that's only rare to that land, and he throws it at this nigga. He swings the sword and it breaks the sword. So I think that would be the equivalent. And I think they actually used whatever that was again in the Tournament of Power. Because the priest, the god asked the priest what was the ring made out of, and he said it was made out of some rare shit found in Universe 7. So who knows? It might be the same shit. But yeah, I like the sword versus the pipe.
Yeah. And Sabo is very stealthy. Especially because like we talked about before, Sabo is slick as spot.
Yeah. Now Trunks is stealthy too now. He's had to survive black for a minute.
Yeah.
So he'd done his share of hiding and sneaking.
Yeah, because in his future world, he had to go underground. Well, I would say Trunks is more of an underground rebel leader than a spy. I mean, even though it is, you're kind of doing the same
I wouldn't
things.
say he was a spy. I'm just saying it's stealthy as far as stealthy.
Yeah.
To outlive black.
Yeah, he was very stealthy as well. So that
make a time machine while you're doing that shit.
So yeah, that again, that's them matching up. Freaking but yeah, man, that whole, what was I gonna say? Oh, the 6 powers thing. that they talk about in One Piece that you don't really learn about until you get to Enies Lobby. And that's when Rob Lucci and all the people at Galley Law start using the 6 powers, and then you're like, wait, what? What the fuck is 6 powers? Bro, all that is, when you think about it, that's Chinese pugilism. The armament hockey shit, that's Chinese pugilism, man. It's learning how to toughen your body to the, well, not so much toughen your body, toughen your mind to where your body can feel no pain. It becomes hard like steel or iron. And I say that because one of the only martial arts flicks that I got from my dad, and I say that because my mom was the one that really put me on martial arts flicks. Like when I was young, we used to sit in front of the TV. We'd sit there for hours just watching 2, 3. It started out with the tapes. Then we moved up to the DVDs, and you know, like how they be showing you on Wu-Tang, how them niggas was kicking it, watching the Kung Fu flicks. That's how me and Moms was. But being that my dad actually practiced martial arts and was actually into that shit, like of course he's gonna be into the movies, but he was more into Bruce Lee than into like the Shaw Brothers or anything like what my mom's was watching. My dad was really into the mainstream martial arts flicks. So he would have a bunch of Bruce Lee tapes laying around the house. And I'd be like, I pop one and I watch it. I'm like, I like it. And nigga Bruce Lee be going the fuck in, but then it's like, it feels like, nigga, that's what he's supposed to do. Cause it don't feel like nobody else in the movie really give this nigga a challenge. He just be breaking everybody the fuck down. But then when you watch the other martial arts flicks, like the ones my moms be watching, these motherfuckers be going in, be having actual good ass fights and blocking and parrying, ducking, dodging, kicking, clawing, scratching, chopping. Like, god damn, yo, these motherfuckers is going in, bruh. Don't let a nigga grab a sword, bruh. Like, oh no. So I was rummaging through my dad's tapes one day and I found this tape called Born Invincible. And I was like, Born Invincible? What the fuck is this? Don't tell me it's some spooky hoo-ha shit and they just threw it in one of these martial arts movies, because they do that. They got martial arts movies that be doing some spooky, scary shit. It just don't feel spooky and it don't feel martial arts because they crammed the two together. But if it's a market for it, so now, I popped that shit in, and it actually reminded me a lot of the tapes that my mom's was watching, so I got into that like rather quickly. And the story kind of revolved around a guy who studied pugilism. And at the beginning of the movie, they had a narrator, and the narrator was explaining the art of pugilism and how it trains your body to make your skin tough like steel, and if you do it right, knives can't even cut you. And they should, like, even with this old grainy ass 1960s film, bruh, they show you this shit so simple, but it'll blow your mind. They got a knife. Dude sits there, he cuts this wooden chop block like 3-4 times, cuts this wooden chop block, holds the knife to his arm, slides it across his arm. Bruh, that shit don't even break the skin. Don't even leave a mark. And I was like,
goddamn devil.
I was like, bro, what the fuck? They was like, yeah, if you gonna study pugilism, you gotta do that shit from an early age. You gotta start from when you like 7 or 8, and you gotta bathe in the special lotions and eat the special pills and train a certain way, stay on a certain diet. I'm like, oh, okay. So at least they didn't just come up and say, oh no, this nigga's invincible because. They gave you a whole backstory on why this nigga is perceived to be invincible. And then the shit started up with this nigga's beef rolling into some bystanders who was just holding a martial arts class out in the mountains just to have a different a change of scenery. And they just practicing out in the mountains, and here come this nigga and his homeboy, and they beating up this old man and chasing his daughter and shit. Like, yeah, nah, nigga, you know what you did, and you killed our men, so you got to pay. And he begging for his life, talking about, no, please, I put the sword down. After that day, I made a vow I'd never pick another sword up again. And my man threw this nigga a sword, said, pick it up, because I don't want to kill an unarmed man. And motherfucker was like, I swear I'd never pick it up. They was like, hey, bro, either you pick that shit up or we gonna kill your daughter. So, what you think that nigga did? He picked that sword up. He fought off 2 of the goons, but he couldn't beat the 2 main bosses. And that's when the school, the martial arts school kids, the main one who was out there, he looked over and he like, well, fuck, that's not right. They beating up on that old man. Let's go over there and stop that shit. So they chase off the 2 goons. Well, yeah, they chase off the goons. The goons go get the main bosses. But the main bosses, these niggas show up to the goddamn school. Like, yeah, nah. You holding our enemy. Send that nigga out to us and we will forgive your transgressions. They're like, yeah, man, we can't do that. Well, long story short, fucking the old man ends up wait, no, before the old man fights, the main teacher, his brother, goes out to try to fight off one of the big bosses. And they beat that nigga's ass. Beat his ass and kill him. So, the second, the main teacher, he go outside. He tell all his students, whatever you do, don't open this door. Don't let nobody in here. That nigga went out. Now, he fought the nigga who trained in pugilism. Bruh. When I say this man was whooping his ass, every punch and kick he hit this nigga with, but it didn't move. Didn't move. Killed the old man. Well, not the old man. He killed the teacher first. Then the old man talked his way outside. He talked them into letting him out. He gets out there. He tells them, I'll fight both of y'all. And they like, nah, nigga. You ain't strong enough to fight both of us. Pick who you want to die from. So, he just pointed at a nigga and started attacking. Fucking, what happened? Oh. The nigga who practiced pugilism killed that nigga. No weapon. Destroyed his weapon. And was like, yeah. Motherfucker, you know. You had no win here. There was never any win here. You put these students, they teachers at risk because your punk ass didn't want to pick up a sword, and then you ended up picking up a sword anyway. So the oldest student the senior student, I'll say, not oldest, but the senior student, this motherfucker ends up taking over the school. And so they dedicate their lives to getting revenge for their teacher and his brother. So it's this one motherfucker in the class who's just a lazy fucker. Like, he be half-ass going through the moves, all this shit. And so on one of the anniversaries for their teacher's death, because one of the final orders he gave the senior student was him and two other students were unable to practice martial arts for, I think, 2 years. No, it was 6 months. They were unable to practice for 6 months, but one of the three of them was practicing secretly for the whole 6 months. And when the main student, when the senior student found out, that nigga put this motherfucker on punishment. He tells this nigga, you are not allowed to practice martial arts for 2 years. 2 years you can't practice. So, fast forward to the 2-year anniversary of the teacher's death. This nigga's in his bed, just sleep. And the senior student come walking and kick this nigga. Hey nigga, what the fuck you doing? Get up. And you're like, what you talking about? He like, what's today? It's the anniversary of teacher's death. Then why the fuck are you still sitting here, nigga? Everybody up at the memorial. Let's go. So they go up to the memorial, and that's when Buddy tell him, like, yeah, you can go back to practicing martial arts now. He starts getting a little better, but he's still not where he need to be. Friggin', they try to set up the two bosses that came and fucked up their teachers and the old man. They get one of them, the nigga that don't practice pugilism. They get him because they end up destroying his little weapon, the little tongue fuzz that he got.
Yeah.
And then inside the handle, he has saw grips. Like, it's actual saw blades that pop out of the grip. And when he hold it from the base, that's how he was able to fuck up the main teacher's brother. Because he broke that nigga's sword and then killed him with it. Fucking, so they set this nigga up. They get the nigga killed, the nigga who doesn't practice pugilism. They kill him first. They try to kill the nigga who practices pugilism, but that nigga is just too fucking bad. They can't figure out how to beat this nigga. And so they try, but they keep getting their ass whooped. So one of the girls at the school, she goes over to what would they call that? Some kind of fucking talisman or Buddha. And she's praying to the Buddha, and she's like, please send me a sign. How do we defeat this man? He's too evil. We can't stop him. How do we beat him? Please send me a sign. And then a nun comes walking through the garden, and she tells them who that nigga is. And she's like, yeah, no. If y'all ran afoul of that nigga, you in trouble. You in trouble, like, for real. Y'all need to get the fuck away from him immediately. Said, no, but he killed our teacher and his brother. Like, let that shit go. And that bitch is like, please, you know him. You must know how to beat him. That bitch is like, okay, fine, I'll tell you. But don't come looking for me no more. She goes, you have to beat him when he's not being himself. And the bitch is like, what the fuck does that mean? And the nun is like, that's all I'm giving you. You gotta beat him when he's not being himself. Well, before I take you through the rest of what happens, I need to give you a little bit of context. With pugilism, the reason why he seems unbeatable and he seems invincible is because he can move his weak spot at will. Because no matter how hard you train in that pugilism shit, you're always gonna have a weak point. There's always gonna be a point on your body that is like, if you hit that motherfucker the right way, it'll shatter your whole iron skin defense. All that shit is going out the window. So, with that said, there are some pugilism practicers who they said could move the weak point at will. Some would put it in the soles of their feet. Others would put it at the back of their throat. Some would hide it like between their shoulder blades. You know what I'm saying? Just weird places. So the girl goes back to the school. She tells her fellow students what the nun told her. And they're like, yo, bitch, that makes no sense. What do you mean when he's not being himself? He's always himself. When are you not yourself? What are you talking about? We don't know him. So, long story short, the lazy motherfucker ends up figuring out what the paradox means, or what the riddle means. My man comes bursting in one day during practice, and he's like, I got it. And they're like, what are you talking about? He's like, I understand what the nun was saying. And they're like, well, what was she saying? He was like, this motherfucker's a evil motherfucker, right? Like, beyond evil, right? Some motherfucker kills for fun and then laughs about it after they're dead. So, when is an evil motherfucker not an evil motherfucker? And they're like, what? What are you talking about? He said, when he's laughing, his weak point is in the back of his throat. And so I'm like, okay, so now what are you gonna do? How are you gonna get, because if he put that shit in the back of his throat, so they come up with a plan to kill this nigga by throwing a dagger through his mouth. But only when this nigga laughs, because he has this hysterical ass laugh, like that cartoon head back. Yeah. Yeah. Fucking so he's fighting the lazy motherfucker. And this thing is like, I fought this nigga before. He wasn't this good. And he's saying that even though the lazy motherfucker's trying to throw the fight on purpose. He's purposely getting beat so that this nigga can feel like he got the upper hand. Cause he trying to get this nigga to laugh. And so my man is like, this nigga didn't fight this good the last time we came across each other. So what the fuck is going on? So the girl comes running out. and the girl tries to cut this nigga with her sword. He breaks that bitch's sword into like little pieces. That nigga was like, look, bitch, last time that nun saved your ass, she ain't here to save your ass today. I'ma kill you alongside this nigga here. Because this nigga came starting beef with me. I don't even know what the fuck this nigga beefing with me over. And they like, you killed our teacher and da 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 da. And then it was like, oh, that's why you're coming after me? He was like, nigga, that shit was like 2 years ago. What the fuck, you still holding a grudge over that? And it was like, that was our teacher. And there it was. That nigga fell out laughing. Like, I'm talking about dying laughing, belly laughing. My man that was on the ground rolled up, grabbed his dagger, tossed it straight through that nigga's gaping pie hole, and the dart came out the back of that nigga's neck. I was like, oh shit. Like, what the fuck? So when I watched that movie, I was like, yeah, that shit was bananas. That's like one of my favorite martial arts movies. Just because the plot is such, how do we figure out how to stop the unstoppable? Like, oh, it's simple. Make that nigga laugh. Like, you make that nigga laugh, he show you his weak spot. But what else you have? All right then. On that note, final word.
The final word is be careful out there. There's people turning up missing, and your loved one may be the one who did it.
Bruh. This sounds eerily familiar. I'll tell you off air. But yeah, so if you haven't done it, go ahead and grab your phones. Go to your Google Play, Apple App Store, wherever you get your apps from. Type in Fly 93.5. Grab that app. Listen in. Can't get us that way, go to radio.fly935.com/listen, and that'll take you right to us when we go live. So it's about that time. Grab your favorite person, throw in your favorite tunes, kick your feet up. It's time to anime and chill. Peace.
Peace.
Dynamic entrance kicking in the door like that. Turn up to the max, shooting energy up to the sky. Tap into the station 935, it's time to rock. Swooshy color backgrounds just to let you know we fly. Undefeated, never beaten, cause we got the skills. Striking all this black gold, you would think we had a drill. We got what you need, homie, so come and get your fill. Relax and unwind, it's time to anime and chill. It's time to anime and chill.